Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the In Alignment podcast. I hope everyone is doing well. If you know me, what is up? What's poppin'? What's Gucci? If you don't know me, same. And, my name is Kany, your host today. Thank you for being here with us for yet another In Alignment podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much for your support, for your ongoing support, for your new support. So welcome to the family, or welcome back to the family. And if you're listening to us on any other audio platform, thank you for also your ongoing support. So in today's conversation, I thought I wanted to share my experience my experience with meditation versus psychedelics. And today I took a few notes. I started this new thing where now I'm actually planning my podcast talk, or at least I'm attempting to. And then seeing how that feels, see how it rolls differently. So hopefully this will work. I don't know if you're gonna notice anything in particular, but for me, yeah, obviously I'm noticing it. And especially since, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can kind of see me flipping through my little wannabe notes here. So anyways, on to this topic of meditation versus psychedelics. So really, my goal, once again, is to encourage you to start or continue your meditation practice, and also give you like a little bit of, my insight maybe with regards to psychedelics and what it did for me versus meditation. And if I can caution you when or if you're doing psychedelics, then hopefully this would be one of the good episodes where you can learn something, a thing or two, yeah? So today I'm in a mood. I'm in a mood, man. I am hyped for no reason because I've been up since 5:45. And how is this relevant to this topic? It absolutely isn't. I'm just basically sharing the energy so that you can get the energy whenever you're listening to this. Hopefully this will get through. So anyways, meditation and psychedelics. So I think, from my perspective, both give you, they both really give you like an awareness or a heightened awareness of yourself, of your greater self. And depending on your experience, depending how deep you go into your experience, or depending on, your consistency with either experiences, you will kind of integrate that heightened state of awareness or consciousness, and you will do things differently, you will feel differently, and it will definitely give you like a change of perspective. So my experience with meditation has been, in the beginning, I think I've shared this in another podcast. So in the beginning, for me, the reason why I started meditating was because I always felt like the inside of whatever I was going through, whether it was like in my body or in my mind, it was just too crowded. It was too noisy. It was too crowded. And so I had difficulty, separating what was mine, what wasn't mine. And it just felt like, let's say if this is my body, it just felt like there were too many people in this one little body, and so I started meditating to kind of start, I guess, in a sense, decreasing that noise and feeling a bit lighter. And even the way that I would react sometimes to certain things, or how I would feel about certain things and express myself, sometimes it felt like it was almost like an energy that was outside of me, or like more like not outside of me, I would say, like I felt like reactive, even though I didn't maybe appear being reactive in the moments, like in my body and within my experience, I could feel myself being reactive to something that didn't felt quite in alignment with my truth, right? But I didn't know what it was. And it's always bothered me. And I've always like sought to understand what that was. So that's one of the reasons why I started meditation. So with meditation, really my goal wasn't even to, you know, understand the other things that I had, the other things that now I consider gifts, right? I wasn't even trying to understand that. I was just trying to minimize the noise, find my voice, get in tune with myself, and just feel lighter about things, right? And so with that process, definitely meditation has given me that, but it has also given me way more, because it has really helped me understand my gifts. It has helped me integrate them better. It has helped me understand other people better, actually, and not being reactive within my personal, you know, experience, as in what I feel in my body, right? And so when I started meditation, like I've done like different types of meditation along, you know, throughout my whole journey, and I feel like it's still evolving, you know, you never know, like it's still evolving. I'm still learning some new things. And right now the practice that I've had it for, I don't even know how long, but I want to say maybe a few months, maybe a year, who knows. Anyways, so with meditation, here what I wrote down is basically you're facing yourself, right? And it feels, to me, it really feels like traveling in your body. It feels like, you know, you're going on this journey. You're going in this journey, whether it's like in your mind, and even if you start with your mind, you end up going through different parts of your body. And sometimes it's rewarding, or it feels like you're getting a reward in the sense of, you know, maybe you might discover like a memory that you had that you didn't remember, and it just brings you joy, and you feel completely elated, and you're just reliving that memory, and it feels really good. And it's just so, and it really changes your state of mind, your state of being. It changes like your whole state, right? The challenge, I would say, is to maintain that state. And so, and I'll get back to that. So, and then sometimes you discover places, some spaces of yourself where you're like, you know, your body starts acting up. It starts feeling fear, and it starts really reliving these things. Or even before you're in that memory, your body's just going to start reacting because it knows that you're going there, right? And so, and then sometimes that can be daunting, like depending on how afraid you are of the thing that you are facing. And or sometimes it might be something painful, and not painful in the sense of, you know, this is like excruciating pain, but painful in the sense of, I've went to places where it was so much sadness, and I felt so much sadness, but this sadness wasn't even mine, but I was meditating on something, I think my inability to connect with a certain person. And as I was going through that meditation, I discovered, you know, how much sadness this person really had. And not as a human being, like the person basically that this person has created, if you want, but more so their baggage, like their baggage as a soul, right? And their baggage as a soul had a lot of sadness, had a lot of sorrow, really sorrow, not sadness, a lot of sorrow. And so once I was able to travel, you know, through those aspects, and I wouldn't even say that it was them per se, because technically we're all different, like we're all one soul, we're all the same thing. We just have different aspects, different faces, different you know, different expressions, but at the end of it, at the end of the day, we're all the same. And so this sorrow basically that I was able to see and live, you know, the visions that I was having were in a sense irrelevant. The visions that I was having were basically to help me understand the heaviness or the weight of this sorrow. However, at the end of the day, that sorrow was an energy that also existed within my being as well, that I was unaware of. And not to say that I have, you know, that I have lived that, or I have, like, I went through something, you know, that created that much sorrow, but it was an aspect of my being as the bigger being that is connected to creation, that is also active within me somewhere, somehow, right? And so so basically my inability to connect with that person was basically my inability to connect with that sorrow within myself, because personally I had never experienced anything like that. And so whenever we were interacting, this was like basically baggage, or like something, you know, between our vibration that was being activated or that was active. And but because it was like in both our psyches, and because, you know, it's not like we both went through something like that, that created almost, excuse me, that created like an inability for us to connect deeper, because, you know, we couldn't even connect to that feeling that we were unaware of, right? Hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, so once I was able to connect with this feeling, to connect with this sorrow, to understand what sorrow was, to understand that feeling, I was able to, you know, to process that, to let go of that. And once I was able to do that, then I was able to connect with this person on a much better and lighter frequency. Like even the way that we spoke to each other was completely different. And because I didn't have any resistance towards that. And so with me doing that work, that allowed that person also to feel at ease, instead of the both of us having like this resistance when we meet each other, right? So anyway, so sometimes, you know, through meditation, you go to these places and sometimes they can be uncomfortable. They can really be uncomfortable. But the great thing about it is that as uncomfortable as it is, or as fearful as you might get, you know, meditation does give you that sense of control, where you know that, you know, you put yourself there so you can just open your eyes if you don't want to deal with it. But at the end of the day, you know, you'll have to deal with it. So you can deal with it in small batches, like little by little. You don't have to go through the whole thing in one shot, right? I think I've had like a few things, I would say, like even till now, actually, I'm pretty sure there's still some stuff that I'm still meditating upon, that I'm unaware of. Because for me, I always seek like the things that are kind of creeping into my vibration in the back of my head or in the back of my mind that I'm unaware of. And I just want to, you know, kind of clean that vibration a little bit, you know? So, but sometimes I do find that it's the same theme. It's the same thing. And I'm like, wow, and you're still active, like you're still there. And every time it feels lighter and lighter and lighter, but still the fact that it's still there, sometimes it really annoys me. Like it really pisses me off. You know, like, I can't believe, like, who put you there, you know? I did, obviously, in a sense, right? But yeah, but sometimes it's just annoying. So anyways, if you are wanting to have a meditation practice, to start a meditation practice, or if you have been experimenting a few meditations or you're wanting to do it on your own, and then you feel that sometimes maybe you're coming too close to something and you're kind of want to get out of it, I would say, you know, just learn how to breathe through the whole process. If you breathe, if you come back to your breath, and, you know, sometimes you can just even talk to yourself, like, and remind yourself where you are. Like, for example, for me, when I started, I would be in my living room, and, you know, in the back of my head, whatever I would see or feel or experience, I would tell myself it's okay. I would breathe through it, take deep breaths, and I would tell myself, listen, you're in the living room. It's okay. You're safe. There's nothing here. You know, no one's attacking you. like whatever I needed to tell myself to just keep going forward, right? And then that's what you find out at the end of the day. You just find out that you just need to learn how to breathe through it and how to get past the discomfort, you know? And then the more that you do it, the easier it will become, just like anything else in life, right? So keep going if you have one, and you know, it will get easier. And if you're the type of person who tried meditating, and every time you try meditating you are back into your thoughts, or you can't focus more than 2 minutes, that's okay. Like, that used to be me too. I was unable to sit for more than 5 minutes, and before I would just be like done with this whole meditation thing. But I would say, like, just like anything else, you really have to have like a strong reason why you're wanting to meditate. If you're just wanting to meditate because, I don't know, people say that it's a good practice to have, or because, I don't know, whatever your reason is, if it's something external from you and it doesn't hold weight for you personally, it's not going to work. It's not going to stick. So even for me, encouraging you to have a mindfulness, or like more specifically a meditation practice, if it doesn't resonate with you, then it's kind of like irrelevant. But I'm hoping that I can at least plant a seed so that you can start thinking about it, and perhaps find a reason why, as strong of a reason why you would want to start a meditation practice, right? So on to the next point. So meditation, because it feels like you're traveling in your body, and you will actually travel in your body, you know, visiting certain memories or certain feelings that are stuck in your body, certain energetic things that are stuck in your body, you really get to know how your psyche um, interprets. I can't speak English right now. I feel like maybe it's too early for me to speak English. Anyways, how your psyche will understand things, and how basically how it works. You really get to know how you make certain conclusions, and your thought processes, right? And so in that sense, I feel like it's easier when then afterwards, like the more consistent that you keep at it, and the more that you get to know your own thought processes and how you make conclusions and how different things feel in your body, you really understand when you're facing someone, it's not even that you will have to make the effort. Like, you will definitely know that whenever someone is, let's say, being unkind or unjust, or is being too much, or is being extra, you will understand why that person is acting that way or is reacting that way, and you will not give it energy, or at least you want to give it energy, but you're able to be more conscious about your own things. And sometimes in that phase, or throughout that journey, you'll have moments where you literally hear your thoughts and feel your thoughts coming to the surface, and that's like your past momentum, but you're able to stop it before you even react the same way that you used to, or you even become something that you don't want to, or that you've been working to, you know, to get past, right? And so that's kind of really cool. And then the more that you do it, the less you become that person, and the more you become the person that you truly are, like that greater being that you are, right? And you're more conscious about the way that you create things. Now, with psychedelics, for me personally, I find the psychedelics are more of a supplement. And so, but that can go in various ways, I guess, or, you know, that can be true for certain people and that can be wrong for others, right? But for me personally, I find that psychedelics are more like a supplement. So my experience with psychedelics is that, especially if you haven't had any meditation, or if you have a low self-awareness, or if you have if you're just not too conscious about things, depending on the kind of psychedelics that you're doing, the intention you're doing it with, and depending on the environment, depending on a lot of factors, if, let's say, all of those things are taken care of and you're in a good space, psychedelics take you out of yourself. Like, they take you out of your nonsense. They take you out of your ego. They take you out of basically the identity that you have created. And they give you, or they open you up to something, they open you up to something greater than yourself. And I feel that in a way, that's kind of how it opens you up, and it changes your perspective, right? When you're not doing psychedelics, or when you're integrating whatever your experience was. So I would say that, you know, let's say, for example, for me with ayahuasca, it was really an out of, it was beyond the cosmos, you know. I can't even, like, honestly, for me, it felt like I met creation, or a really large part of creation. But at the time, it felt like just creation itself, you know. But now, after all the other experiences I've had, it feels like it was a very large part of creation, but it's not the whole of creation, because the whole of creation is just unimaginable, and it's always evolving. It's just like ongoing, and always creating, right? And so, but it felt like something that was like so far from me in a way, and yet completely me at the same time. It was a really interesting, yeah, it was a really interesting experience, I would say. But at the same time, personally, maybe because of the nature of my soul, maybe because of the nature of my experience, what I came here to have, as, you know, to experience as a human being, to me, everything felt like a confirmation. It didn't feel like I learned something new, but it felt like a confirmation, and it felt like what I knew now became an experience. And so it really grounded, or it really settled those thoughts, or those ideas within my experience, rather than being just, you know, maybe an intellectual thing, right? And so, but again, if, I guess with ayahuasca, or with like plant medicine, the experiences can be a bit different, in the sense that, again, if you have like all the other factors surrounding them, you know, making sure that you're gonna have a good experience, the plant medicine will always give you what you're ready for, and not necessarily all the things that you want. It will always be more than you want, or more than you desire as a soul, and not as your ego, right? And but with other psychedelics, I don't know that that would be the case, because I haven't experienced them. But yeah, but anyways, so the other feeling that psychedelics give you is that you really can experience a feeling of elation, a feeling of complete blissfulness, a feeling of really being one with the cosmos, being one with the universe, being, you know, you feel high, in a sense, high in vibration, not high like a mental high. You just feel like you're going up in vibration, right? And with those feelings, if it's something, you know, again, this is why for me, I would say like it's better to have it as a supplement, because as much as you can have those experiences, I think it's really important to have an integration post those experiences, because the only danger, or not even danger, the only caution that I would see with that, with psychedelics, is that if you don't integrate and you're just kind of looking for those good feelings, it's something that you're not learning how to generate yourself. Hence why I could see why people would go, would want to do them more often, or to kind of just use it as an escape. Where psychedelics, I honestly think that it should not be an escape. It can't be an escape, because I think that's when it starts becoming a little bit dangerous. But if you're using them more as like a counseling or like a check-in, and and I know that, for example, with psilocybin, with like magic mushrooms, there are a lot of research that are being done, proving that it can help with depression, with anxiety, with PTSD even. But you really need to do the research and how to microdose, how to use them safely, and again, have an intention for the greater of your well-being and that of others, and not for an escape. Because even if you were just smoking weed, I think I've mentioned that in another video or in another podcast, I think even cannabis should really, we should really learn how to treat all these plant medicines as such, with respect, and to really have an intention, and not just for the sake of the experience, but also for the sake of your own connection with, the greaterness of the universe, the cosmos, creation, whatever it is, right? And ultimately, you're kind of cultivating that that energy for yourself as well. It's like, if you would want, how would you want to be received as a guest of, if you were a guest of honor, right? How would you like to be spoiled? How would you like to be invited in? How would you like to be treated? And then treating these plants the same way whenever you're having that experience, as much as you can, right? And so now I have heard of, if we go into if I continue on this cautionary thread, so I've heard of people who went into psychosis because of different psychedelics. And even when I think about people who are drug addicts, right? So if we go on the premise that you're escaping your current reality and you're looking for that feeling of love, because at the end of the day, we're all seeking that. That's what we're all seeking. Deep down, we just want to have that connection of love, to experience love, to grow in love, to create in love. And unfortunately, the structure of society as we are right now is not exactly based on that, right? We're conditioned and programmed a bit differently, hence why we create all this contrast and create, sometimes all these pains and suffering to kind of remind us, hey, this is not the feeling that we want. Therefore, how are we going to create a new reality for ourselves to just allow for us to really bloom in love, to go back to our true nature, right? That's all it should really be. It's not that serious, guys. It's really not that serious. And so anyways, so with drug addicts and maybe people who use psychedelics as a mean to escape, right? Or even with any type of addiction, I would say, well, I'm not going to say any type of addiction. I will say the ones that I have observed. So drugs, psychedelics, and alcohol. If you're trying to escape a reality, if you're trying to escape your emotions, you're trying to escape something about yourself, something about, your creation, your manifestation, something that is bothering you within yourself, within your personal experience, inside how you feel, right? I can really understand how these means can be addictive, because for a split of a second or for a moment, you're finally feeling either connected, or you're feeling like you're having a break. And from all the nonsense that you've created, right? And so it's almost like your love muscle is weak and is weakening, and you are weakening it because then you're kind of relying on something that is external from you to bring that that feeling, right? And so if you're always doing that, you're not giving yourself the you're not giving yourself like the chance to exercise the muscle, the love muscle, the creation muscle, you know, through love. And so, and that's why I think even if you're doing psychedelics, you know, it's really good to have a meditation practice, because it's really exercising that muscle. And the more that you do it, the easier that it gets, and the better and the stronger that you become, right? And you know, it's like we really have so much power, guys, and everything that you create outside is really a reflection of how you feel inside. And sometimes, if not most of the times, we fail to recognize how we're creating our realities. And so even however bad your reality is, I would like to take this opportunity to remind you that you are the creator of your reality. You're the ultimate creator of your reality, right? And even if that doesn't make sense, or even if you're listening or watching me and you're saying, you know, well, it might be easy for you because you don't have to deal with this, or you don't know my reality because, you know, something horrible has happened to you. What I'm trying to say is not to belittle your experience, but really to empower you. And the more that you say, however it's uncomfortable or however it is painful to say that you have created this pain in your life, but the more that you acknowledge and the more that you say to yourself, I'm the creator of my own reality, you're giving less power to the things that are external to you, to the things that are happening to you, and to that victim mentality. And you're saying, if I've created this, I also have the power to create something different. And it might be absurd to even think about it, but just try it. Just try it and see, because maybe that feels better than saying, you know, I didn't do this, like this happened to me, or whatever it is, or I didn't have any choice. And just try it. Just try to see. Even changing your language sometimes might make you feel better. What I'm trying to say here is that if there's something that is not going well in your life, if you try to focus on, you know, making something better, even if it's for a split of second, that feels much better than maybe the reality in which you live in, right? And if nothing else, you always have your mind. You can always escape, you know, through your mind and create like absolutely beautiful things. And if you can even be in that state, you know, despite what is happening around you, that already feels better, right? And so it's never what's happening outside of you. It's always like how you feel about the things that are happening outside of you. There's so many things that we cannot control outside of ourselves, but there are a lot of things that we can control within ourselves, right? And so, and maybe that's just enough. Maybe that's just enough, at least to start somewhere, to start feeling good about ourselves and to start feeling like there is hope, right? And if that doesn't even sound good, let me just let you know that in my personal meditation, I'm always sending some love and support and comfort and whatever other words and feelings come through my mind that I feel, you know, might be helpful or might be beneficial. So just know that someone somewhere out there in, like, on earth is thinking about you and is sending you all the support that you may require, you know. And so try to reach out for that, you know. And sometimes it's also just asking help, and you know, and then see what happens. So anyways, so let's see if I have something else for the psychedelics. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the caution that I wanted to talk about. And yeah, so if I can wrap this up, and there are some links that I will share because I think I've mentioned this also in another podcast. One of the very first meditations that I started, or that I experienced or I learned, was through chakra meditation. And I used to listen to Osho's chakra sound healing. And I have linked the playlist in a different video, or in a different video. But I also recently found a whole, it's just like all the chakras are in one. It's not a playlist, like it's like one audio. So I'm going to link that. But also I think I might have mentioned this before too. And if I haven't, I'm mentioning it now. Ryan Cropper. Ryan Cropper is a YouTuber who talks extensively and shares extensively on astral projection. He is amazing. He's amazing. And I've even taken 5 classes with him. And he's also the person who when I saw one of his videos talking about ayahuasca and where he went to do his retreat, it convinced me personally that it's something that I should be investing in, because before him, there was just like Sadhguru that I listened to basically. No one else really resonated with me, or resonated. Yeah, I couldn't really relate to any other spiritual teachings per se in an experiential sense. But Ryan, when I started watching his videos, even just the way that he shared his astral projections and his learnings and his teachings, it just made sense to me. Like, it completely clicked, and I was like, oh, he is the real deal to me anyways, right? So you might want to check him out. But he also have a guided meditation that I had tried actually at the time when I discovered him. Now, his guided meditation, I will say, I have shared it with a few other people. Some people got triggered with just the sound of his voice, but for some reason, for me, it's like really soothing. So just see how it feels. But also his guided meditation kind of it brings you to places, to certain places in your body, and you might relive certain, feelings. But if you keep listening to his voice, it's again, like, to me, it's just very soothing, and it makes it very safe to visit those places. Or at the time, it really made it safe for me to visit, certain places in my body. So here's a great link. The third link that I want to share is actually a deep relaxation. It's actually a hypnosis. And this comes from a doctor. I think his name is Dr. Brian Weiss, I think Weiss. And in searching for the link, I actually found that Oprah even invited him at some point to talk about his work. So if I remember correctly, because this was like years ago, if I remember correctly, I think he used to be a psychologist or some type of therapist until he discovered past life regressions. And if you don't know what past life regressions are, they're basically, a way to, it's a way to access your past lives through hypnosis. And by accessing your past lives, or reliving or being aware of these past lives, you can either do some healing, or it just brings you like more awareness in why maybe certain things are not working the way they should be working in your life, or things like that, right? And so when I was researching hypnosis at the time, I found one of his past life regressions meditation. And because I didn't believe it at the time, and because I was like, well, this is a meditation anyway, so what's the worst that can happen? I'm just going to listen to it and then see where it goes. Oh my God. let me tell you, I didn't go back into a past life with him particularly, or with that particular, what do you call it, meditation. However, I went as far back as when I was a fetus in my mom's womb. And it was really interesting because I even got some information. I don't know, I'm not going to go too much into it because I haven't asked my mom if I can share that. But anyways, I got some information from when I was a fetus at that time. And I asked my mom afterwards, and she was so surprised. She was like, how do you know that? Like, I've never told you this. And I'm so surprised. Like, how did you even know that? And then I told her, I shared, you know, my experience at the time. And my mom is like very open. So it made sense to her. And she was like really amazed. But the other thing that I experienced in that state was, you know, I remember I told my mom, I said, I see hands. I could see like energetic hands, people touching your stomach. And it felt like male energy. I couldn't see who these people were, but I could see kind of like, you know, an outline of energy behind this wall that was probably just her stomach. And I could see just hands, and I could see that these hands, I could tell that these hands were men's hands. And she was like, and when they touched her belly, you know, I was very happy. And even just right now, thinking about it, it's like I'm reliving that moment because I don't know, I felt happy. I felt excited to come into the world, and I felt so much loved. I felt like some people were just waiting for me to have, like, I don't know, maybe to have this party, or there were just like people waiting for me, you know? And it just brought me so much joy. And I think I actually even cried because it was just like so much love, you know? And so when I asked my mom, she told me, she said, well, because my dad and his family, my dad was the last sibling to get married, and he's the third sibling out of six boys. And so all the other men were actually my uncles. They were his brothers, and they were all touching her belly because I think they had made some type of party when she announced that she was pregnant, and they were all celebrating her because they were really happy for my dad, for her. They were just happy, and they were just very excited to see me. And so, yeah, and I think, you know, when I was writing this down as a note to share, it feel like I remembered a conversation that I had with some friends, and sometimes I talk about this, and it's like, you know, despite all the negative feelings or negative, quote unquote, negative experiences I've had with my dad, one thing that I always felt was true is that I was loved. I never felt like at any time or any point in my life I wasn't loved. I never doubted that. Even when I didn't completely understand my fellow humans, you know, I was always connected. I was always connected to something greater. And even when I developed like such fear regarding my own gifts, you know, it always felt like there's this love that is greater than me, or there's this being or something that is greater than me that really loves me, and that wants to take care of me, or that is taking care of me, or that is like right there somewhere, somehow, you know. And that has always been my guiding force, you know, that and my fear. And now the way that I see things now through meditation again, you know, it's like, it's not outside of us. It really feels like it's outside of us, but it's also within us. It's something that we can access within ourselves. And so, you know, meditation is everything, y'all. Like, if there's something that you can get out of this episode, is that meditation is everything. It is life. You will not regret ever starting or continuing your meditation practice. And so I will leave you with that note, and I will make sure to put all the links you know, I guess the links will be in the description below on YouTube. But I will also include them on the Facebook link, so that way you can just click on them and have access to them. And yeah, so I hope this was an interesting conversation yes, an interesting conversation with myself. I hope this was a great conversation, guys. So yeah, to resume, meditation feels like you're traveling through yourself. You're learning about yourself, you're learning, you know, you're actually doing the work. You are warming up, you're stretching, you're flexing those muscles, you're gonna have some pain sometimes, and then you will recover, and sometimes you will need some rest, and then after some time you will feel stronger, more flexible, better. You'll feel like you can achieve anything, and even if you want to do undertake, anyways, if you want to start a new workout journey, it will feel the same way. You'll know how it goes. You'll know the rhythm of how your muscles, you know, how much your muscles need to rest, or how much rest do you need, and what food you need, and all of that. So it's just going to be the same algorithm, you know? Whereas with psychedelics, for me anyways, it feels like, I don't know, maybe suddenly you are waking up in a dream where you have this fit body, and you can feel the muscles flexing, and you can feel, you know, all the tension, and you can feel maybe how much work you might have put in this body, and you can feel all these other things. And then you wake up in your body that is not, or that is different from that other body, and you're like, oh, hold on, how do I get here? And if you're lazy, you're gonna be like, okay, let me try this again, and not want to do the work. But if you're using it as a supplement to get you a feeling, to download that feeling, to inspire you, and to be like, oh, hold on, when I was in that body, it felt like, you know, my biceps were tense in a certain way. Maybe if I try doing some bicep curls, that will give me that feeling. Or maybe if I start running, that will give me the toned body that I'm looking for. Or maybe I need to start boxing because I could feel that, you know, I had a lot of frustration that I didn't have anymore in that body, because it felt like I might have been punching some things. Obviously, we're not going to go punch humans. So let me get into a boxing class, or maybe a kickboxing class. So let me go into yoga, because I felt like I had a lot of tension, and, you know, this body felt really calm, and it felt very, you know, refreshed and relaxed. So I feel like maybe I just need to stretch things out, whatever it is, right? So if you're using psychedelics in that way to give you inspiration to maybe something you're unaware of, to help you, guide you, and work towards what it is that you want, fabulous, fabulous. All the powers to you. So, as African as I am right now, for the 10th time, I will leave you on that. I hope everybody will have a wonderful day. I hope you've enjoyed this rumbling, aka conversation, and with myself, of course. And I will see you all in the next episode. And once again, thank you everybody for the ongoing support, whether it's on YouTube or on the other platforms where you listen to this podcast. We really appreciate your podcast too, sure. We really appreciate your support, your love. And if you haven't done so already, connect with us through IG. We're actually working towards being more consistent on our social media platforms. And so that's quite exciting. And we're working on a few other projects that we hope to unveil very soon. So keep up with us, stay with us. Let's build this community. Let's share the love. Let's share all the positive energy. And again, thank you all so much. And until next time, have a wonderful day.